My interest is dyslexia. What specific programs does the department fund for dyslexia?
I don't think we have a specific program for dyslexia. Children with dyslexia have special needs. Obviously, that falls into the IDA bucket where we have pretty significant resources.
Now, can I interrupt just for a second?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
So dyslexia is 80% of learning disabilities. So, and maybe at least 50, maybe more, of those who cannot read. This is all epidemiological data, peer-reviewed, et cetera. So it strikes me, if it's 20% of the kids who have a problem, of the 80% of those with learning disabilities, 20% of the general population, why in the heck don't you have a special program for dyslexia? You follow what I'm saying?
It's a fair question. Again, that's something for Congress to think about. And
so you're suggesting Congress should give a special emphasis?
I'm not suggesting. I'm just saying Congress can look at this, and there are many children with special needs, and we are trying to ask for more resources, and obviously a significant portion of those resources go to help children with dyslexia.
Do you have any sense of the quality of the programs currently in schools addressing the needs of dyslexics?
I think it would be varied and mixed. I think there are some schools and some communities, some districts who do an extraordinary job here of early identification support.
Granted that there's always going to be a spectrum.
Yeah.
But do we have a sense of where the mean is? Well, it's not the mean, the median.
Yeah. I would say much better than 10 or 15 years ago. There's much greater, there's heightened awareness.
That's a low bar, man.
That may be true. But is there more we can and should be doing? Absolutely.
So what would you, in your dream of dreams, what would be done to actually improve the screening and intervention for those with dyslexia? Because if you tell me that currently there is no single office looking at it, there's no kind of, Senator Mikulski speaks about the 1%, I'm speaking about the 20%, and she's speaking about those who might succeed no matter what we do or don't do. I'm speaking about the 20% that will not succeed, quite likely, unless we do something. Now, I just have a sense that this has been on kind of, may happen, may not, but there's not really been that sort of supervision to make sure, not like you're doing for the for-profit colleges, for example. You know there's a problem, you're going to go in, you're going to look at it. Here I have a sense it's more along, well, it happens, maybe it does.
No, I think our office that looks at this is doing really good work there. Again, it's a fair critique. Do we have enough resources put behind children, whether they have special needs or whether they're extraordinarily gifted? I think it's a very fair critique that we're not investing enough in either population. And for us to invest more, we clearly need your help and support.
Now, that said, I think it's more than, I would argue it's a little bit more than investment, because I do think that there is a lack of awareness. I've read about RTI, and I've read about others that think we should screen differently. And those both that criticize and praise RTI both say that there must be a general faculty understanding of what dyslexia is, or otherwise fourth grade and cannot read, and at that point intervention is less profitable. So is there any sense that there is a general faculty understanding in more than a small fraction of schools?
So these are complicated issues and don't want to blow through them, and really important issues. We have about 1,400 schools of education. And so if you wanted to have a general or a universal faculty understanding, once they enter the classroom, I would argue that's a little bit late in the game. That general understanding should happen well before that. And so I think to really get to the root of that, the honest question would be, what are our schools of education doing in this space?
I got that. But of course, on the other hand, if we just say wait until those who are currently in school or become aware of the issue, then we're really speaking about 30 years from now before we replace all those who are currently active, and then we no longer would be. So I just say that as a kind of, oh my gosh, we need a cohort, not just the current cohort, we need all cohorts to be engaged. But I think that also kind of answers my question, because I really have a sense that most educators are not aware of this and have not received training dollars to be made aware of it. So if it takes a general faculty engagement, it is like we've met the enemy and it is us.
So yes, and we invest in professional development. We would like to invest more. And I also argue publicly in many places that the money we put behind current teacher professional development, not future teachers, is often well spent, and is often poorly spent and not spent on things that teachers are really looking for.
And it seems like it's reasonable that Congress would give some direction if we see a need that address 20% of the population and probably at least 50 to 60% of those who read below grade level, that we would give specific direction that it shouldn't just be an amorphous, here's a pot of money, spend it as you wish, but we have a specific national need, please address, much like conquering HIV or going to the moon. I don't know your thoughts on that.
There are many children with special needs, many children facing real challenges, and for me, it's not about picking out this population, that population, it's about how do you give every single one of those
I
children
accept
a
that,
chance
but
to
in
be
times of
successful.
limited resources, one has to be somewhat directed. So if you have one that's 80% of the LD community, it seems more likely you would focus, huh?
So many of your colleagues are looking for us to be less directive, and just want to be clear about that.
Okay, I yield back. Thank you.